And as he walked down the street, here was a widow from the town of Nain. And this widow came out, and she was there in a procession with her only son, who was laid out in a casket in that procession. Now Jesus did the unusual. He walked up to the funeral procession. He stopped it. He held them as they were on the way to the graveyard. And Jesus touched the body of her son and commanded him to rise from the dead. And you know, when Jesus did that, he said, I am the Lord of life. And Jairus was the ruler of the synagogue, and Jairus had called for Jesus. He said, look, you've got to come quickly, because my daughter is near to death. There is nothing we can do. She's going to die. And so Jesus gets ready and goes with this man. But then partway to his home, there's another messenger comes. And the messenger says, tell Jesus not to come. It's too late. This girl has died. Jesus ignored that message. And he continued on with Jairus, and as he continued on with him, Jesus told the mourners at the house, look, she's only asleep. Well, they, like us, have known death. And they had seen a lifeless body, and they looked at this girl and they laughed at Jesus. And they said, she's not asleep. She's beyond sleep. She's dead. And Jesus, as so often he would do, he sent the crowds away. And he went in and he touched the girl and he took her by the hand and he said, my child, get up. And life came into her lifeless body. And Jesus interrupted the occasion of death with life. He declared himself to be the resurrection and life. He brought life to Jairus' daughter. You know, when we look at this, Jesus gave us a whole new perspective on it. You know, we see a number of funerals in the New Testament scriptures that Jesus attended in the Gospels. And one of the things that happens in every single funeral or every single wake that Jesus went to was he interrupted it. He interrupted each funeral, each wake for the dead with a resurrection. And what a glorious thought that is. That here, as these people were mourning and in the loss over death and wondering about it, that Jesus would interrupt that funeral service and bring that person back to life. Each time Jesus was making the declaration, I am the living God, and I have the power of life, and I can give it to all man.